At this point in the conversion, we had a few different projects on the go. We had the water tanks ordered in and needing their frames made, a leaky windscreen, and that pesky rusted back window that needed our attention. Unfortunately, we were also battling with winter weather and a malfunctioning camera, so we did our best to record and fix Bobby up. What are you doing today?
We are attacking this window, which has a bit of rust. As you can see, we're going to be using that metal brush down there. I have no idea how this is going to go. Last time we used one of these, it went flying. You'll be pleased to know that there were no flying wire discs during this process, and it actually all went pretty straightforward. Right, team, stand it back. See there's a little hole there. And also on the side as well. Sanded that all up. Wire brushed it all. Now we're just going to put this converter on, rust converter. Kind of acts as a primer as well. I'm going to try and get as much as possible on all these little cracks. Just to hopefully stop any future rust. Yeah, so that's the first part of the attack, and then get some epoxy just to kind of cover up those holes and gaps, and then should be able to put a top coat over the top of it, and then we'll go from there. We're already starting to change colour. It kind of goes purpley black when it starts to get activated, which means it's doing its job. Now I just need to do the other side. Another update. It's going all black now. And I've just been taking all the old sealant off as well. Now we should have a nice-ish edge when we put the window back. Hey guys, so I'm back. Pretty much what I'm going to do now is try to bog up one of the gaps, or one of the holes in the windowsill. One of the holes is pretty decent in size, and so just a bit nervous that when we put the filler in that it would sink. So basically what I've done is cut a little bit of wood out, drilled a tiny little hole in it where there's a bit of nylon, poked it through the hole, and then pulled the nylon back up. So then it creates almost like a base underneath the gap. So then when I put the filler over it, it should hopefully keep it somewhat nice. So this is the product we're using to fill it. Epibass. Epifill. Epigood. Quick update. Put a string, wiring that wood up. It's looking alright. Then on the other side, I'm not going to see it. There's see it up there as well. So that's kind of coming along right now. Basically I'm going to cut the string, put a little bit more on, then wait till it sets and dries, sand it back, and then put some enamel top coat paint over top of it. This rust converter here kind of acts as a primer as well, which is awesome. So yeah, that's basically it. Then it should be almost ready to put the window in. Cool? Cool.
The sun came up in full swing the following day, which as we were heading towards winter was becoming less of a thing. So Dylan had already started on the back window and I was going to join him. We decided to prime and paint our window edge with a metal guard spray paint so that we could eventually pop the window back in place. Unfortunately, for some reason, our spray caused blistering of the paint as it dried. This could be because of the bad match of primer and paint, or maybe the primer hadn't set properly. We waited for it to dry to see what would happen, but decided we would have to redo the paint job.
So the paint has dried enough that Dylan's managed to
Sand it down to a smooth surface, which means that we can try spray paint it once again.
Hey guys, so I've been working on the bus slowly over the past couple of days, and it's slow progress, but it is progress, so that's always good. Basically we're still up to rusting and waterproofing the bus. Rustproofing and waterproofing essentially the bus. So the windscreen's still out, still got a bit of work to do there, but right now I'm about to actually spray some cavity wax on. Well, I need to clean up this mess first, and then spray some cavity wax, which I might have shown you earlier. Well, quite fun actually spraying this stuff. So yeah, Steve, which is Tegan's dad, he runs with someone that's a panel beater, I believe, and he recommended two products. One was a Brunox spray, which, let's see if I can find it. Brunox, epoxy Brunox. Basically what it does is turn bare metal and rust black, so it converts it, and then it acts as a primer to further protect it, and then obviously you can top coat over top of that as well, which means you do a couple of layers of it, which just comes in a handy aerosol can, which is all good. And then the other stuff, can you see that? There you go. So yeah, this stuff, quite heavy duty. Usually people spray it under the body. Just creates like a tacky wax sensation, which is quite good. So you can kind of see it here. We sprayed it a little bit thick, so it's quite tacky. It's actually going to add, well, it's going to be quite beneficial for when we put the insulation on, so it should actually stick to it. So that's quite cool. And you can remove it as well if you want to, but it's meant to kind of just sit there, and it's going to sit in behind all the panels and hopefully just help keep the body good. We want the bus to last quite a long time, so we figured, you know, let's put in some effort now and try and get there. You're probably noticing all this insulation still on the roof, all that adhesive, and yes, we are going to keep it like that. Basically the adhesive is so, I don't know, super industrial strength, and we've tried some real serious alcohol thinners, and I mean there's one type of thinner that we were thinking of using, well, we actually tried to use, and it has like a skull, big old skull on its face, and some industrial bloody container. But yeah, nothing really gets it off apart from a bit of heat. Makes it tacky enough that you can scrape it, but it just takes forever. But anyway, when you spray this cavity wax on, it actually pushes the insulation back and does this type of thing, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine for what we're trying to do anyway. So that's plan of attack. Anyway, I'm going to tidy up all this. Boop, boop, boop.
We'd been struggling for a couple of weeks to attack the back window. It was a mix of needing good weather and a couple of dry days to fit inside the back window, and trying to balance out our work and sport life with the bus. When the weekend rolled round, so did the sun, which meant today was going to be the day that our battle with the rear window was won.
Hi guys, so we're back in the bus. Dylan's been fixing up that window. Smooth enough to put the window in, and it's potentially dry enough for now, so we're going to try and do that. And while we're waiting, we cleared up some space. We moved the windscreen out of the bus, and we took off the handrails that were up here. There's a bit more space now.
Our first task was to fit our rear lights back in place. Previously we had found the seals had all but disintegrated, so earlier on in the week I made my way down to the bus to cut and fit some new seals. We could have brought ones to match, but it was cheaper to buy a roll of neoprene foam to make our own. We found out the spare roll of foam would come in handy later on.
Now,
Our next step was finally fitting this window back in place. This window had been a hassle from the beginning, and there were a few components left in order to get it back where it belonged. One of these was the RTV silicone window sealant, a length of cord, and some muscle brought to you by yours truly. The idea was that we would put a little bit of sealant around the outer lip and wrap the cord in the inner part of the rubber. We would then push the window from the outside, and from the inside the ends of the cords would be exposed, and when pulled out it would flick the inner rubber over the top of the window lip, fixing it in place and becoming watertight. The whole process for us newbies was confusing as we just described it, but in theory it was pretty straightforward.
The window being in place without ripping the rubber seal or cracking the glass was a huge relief. With a few extra taps, Dylan was convinced it would sit alright and was just about ready for a cold one.